We are going to do holmium laser enucleation of the prostate today, and this is a patient who is 70 years of age who had a TURP done earlier 4 years back, and in his village he had acute retention of urine. A peripheral primary health center doctor tried to catheterize him, but he was unable to catheterize, and rather he traumatized his urethra, and the patient, when he came to us, he was bleeding per urethra. So he was taken to the operating room, and where in the urethroscopy guided we passed in a catheter, and it was found that the peripheral center doctor had caused rupture or false passage posteriorly in the urethra. So we plan to keep the catheter for some time and proceed for the holmium laser enucleation of the prostate. We examined him. He is a man of average build and nutrition, chest and CVS normal, per abdomen soft, no masses, and the external genitalia being normal. We did an ultrasound on him which revealed an 86 gram of residual prostate. This patient had a serum creatinine of 1. The patient had a hemoglobin of 13.3. He has a serum PSA level of 1.6 nanogram per ml, and he is on catheter. His post-void residual prior to catheterization was 182 ml. So this patient is being taken up for surgery today. We are going to show today holmium laser enucleation of the prostate. This is the cystoscopic view of this patient. You can see an evidence of a healed false passage posteriorly, and as we advance, this is the verumentanum. This is the evidence of resected fossa. Patient has had TURP, as I mentioned in the history, and you can see the large median lobe, and this is the ureteric orifice. So you can see a trabeculated bladder, and you can very well identify these inflammatory polyps. So this is this patient was on catheter for 6 weeks, and this is the view after removal of the catheter. And now we are going to do the dilatation. This patient has a rigid this bulbomembranous region. Holmium laser enucleation of the prostate has emerged as a breakthrough in technology, and it is a safe and effective method for surgical treatment of benign prostatic enlargement. We have done more than 3,000 cases at this center by this method, and today I am going to demonstrate holmium laser enucleation in a patient who has had TURP 4 years back. When he went to his village in mid-October, he underwent retention of urine, and after this an attempt to catheterization was made, but in the village nobody could catheterize him. His urine was drained by putting a suprapubic needle, and then he was sent to us, and here at our center we had to do a urethroscopy guided catheterization. We found that there was a false passage which was going deep into the posterior urethra, and the patient was bleeding. So he after a urethroscopy guided catheterization decided to leave the catheter for a period of 6 weeks, and now we are going to do the whole procedure on him. The thing which I want to highlight here is this laser bridge. You can see at 6 o'clock in this video this laser bridge. Now the beauty of this laser bridge is that the 550 micron fiber comes through this 600 channel for the laser fiber, and you can see a trabeculated bladder. You can see at 6 o'clock the bridge, and through this laser 600 micron laser channel, this is the laser fiber. Now you can see the aiming beam which is red in color, and we have the freedom to move the laser fiber to and fro. So this blue is the covering of the laser fiber, and the laser fiber is coming out through this tip, and the other channel in this laser bridge is holding the telescope. But the advantage of this innovative laser bridge which is made in indigenously in our country is that you have no danger to the telescope. Now the point, when we have a post TURP residual prostate, the anatomy has to be studied thoroughly. You can appreciate that in this case the trigone is seen, and now this is the median lobe. The person who has done the TURP has only resected the left lobe, and that too not completely. Here one can see the residual apical tissue on the left side, and here I am trying to enucleate the right lobe along with the median lobe. Here if I am passing my laser fiber below the median lobe, and we will work our way, we will try to find the plane of enucleation at this stage, and this is with the laser fiber. One is going below the median lobe, and here this is the 5 o'clock position from where we are coming up to the level of verumontanum. This is where the previous resectionist has done the resection. See the trigone, see the ureteric orifice, and the right ureteric orifice cannot be seen. So the exercise in a situation like this is that we must prevent any kind of injury to the right ureteric orifice. So we will keep working in the plane of enucleation below this median lobe, and the art of saving the ureteric orifice is that we do not go on the trigone, we will just go laterally below the median lobe. So this is, see, this is the trigone, and here the left ureteric orifice, and to prevent any kind of injury to right ureteric orifice, we are not going to go below it. You can see the laser fiber, and we are trying to go below the lobe here, and if we pursue with the plane of enucleation, what happens is that the capsular fibers and the capsule, it stays fixed, and the technique of enucleation is that one comes from a defined area to an undefined area. So I am going from, this is the defined area, and now I am working my way all the time from a defined to an undefined area. See, this is the bladder, these are the capsular fibers which I have found at the level of bladder neck, and therefore I am working below the median lobe, and all the time I am trying not to injure the right orifice. See, this is the trigone, and this is the interureteric bar. So we have safeguarded the interureteric bar, and now this is the left orifice, and this is the median lobe, and we will lift the median lobe. The plan in this situation is that we do not want to make any cut at 7 o'clock position, because this median lobe tissue is confluent along with the right lateral lobe. So because the capsular plane is a fixed plane, and the adenoma, the way it gets, once we apply the holmium laser energy, the adenoma is lifted upwards, and you can see the retraction phenomena. Here, the moment we are working on the capsule, the adenoma gets retracted upwards, and we are getting the plane. You must understand here that when we are trying to find the plane, it is the beak of the instrument which is giving us a gentle traction. Now this gentle traction allows us to give us a plane of retraction, and within this plane the laser fiber moves to and fro, and it sort of defines this plane of enucleation. Very important in this case is that one should not go make any kind of perforation, because it is always possible. This is a small lesion at the floor which looks some kind of a frondy inflammatory appearance. So we have just lifted up with the laser fiber, and this is the evidence of previous resection. This is some tissue which is at the floor, so we are just evaporating it. Another thing which you can observe here is that the holmium 100 watt, it can easily vaporize the tissue also. So there is a simultaneous coagulation as well as vaporization. The beauty in this procedure is that there is no bleeding, because whenever we do TURP, you will find bleeders time and again. But here, if we are enucleating the gland, and if we are in the right plane, we don't see any bleeding. The whole crux of this enucleation is that one should not miss the plane of enucleation. Now you see, at this stage, once we have found our plane of an enucleation at 6 o'clock, this is, we go to 12 o'clock. So we have now rotated the camera as well as the scope, and you can now appreciate that the laser fiber is coming out at 12 o'clock. Earlier this fiber was coming out at 6 o'clock. So this is the stage at which we change the telescope and the camera, and the laser bridge is now showing itself at 12 o'clock position. The purpose is that we will find the plane of enucleation at 12 o'clock. At this stage, we go right deep up to the capsular fibers, and we try to reach to a stage where the fixed fibers are visualized. Now you can appreciate this is the adenoma, and on the right side we see the fluffy cotton wool like appearance of the prostate gland, and when we move this fiber, the prostate gland falls down, and on the left side these are the capsular fibers, and this is the left side. You can see the resected median lobe. Now this is the area we are coming towards verumontanum, and here we are using the laser fiber to find the plane of enucleation virtually at 12 o'clock, and we move this fiber from 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock, and then we move this fiber right and left to be able to find this plane of enucleation. You can appreciate here that this is the capsular fibers, and these capsular fibers give us the direction that we are in the correct plane, and we keep moving in this correct plane. So you can very well appreciate the transversely running capsular fibers. These are flimsy attachments of the capsule with the adenoma, and the beauty is that 100-watt laser is a very precise knife. So now you can see that how precisely it is cutting. The difference is that whenever we reduce the wattage, if we make it 50 watts, 30 watts, the pulse rate is less, and therefore see how it coagulates the bleeder. Even at 100 watts, if you keep a defocused beam, you will be able to coagulate a bleeder also. So this was an arterial bleeder, and the laser has sort of coagulated this bleeder. And now again we are working our way right from 12 o'clock to come, we are reaching to 9 o'clock, and this is how. And as I was mentioning, that where 100-watt is coarse over other lasers is that 100-watt machine can act as a precise knife. The advantage of this equipment is that it has a higher repetition rate. So the repetition rate up to 50 can be achieved with this laser, and the higher the repetition rate, it acts as a sharper knife. So here we are working with a 100-watt laser in this patient, because for last 4 years he was having symptoms, and he was taking, there is evidence of chronic prostatitis, as you can see prostatic calculi in this case, and he was also having medicines for this symptoms. Therefore this is a fibrous gland, and here the way we are moving with this 100-watt equipment, you can see that the adenoma is very nicely, sharply being cut. This is the area where you see we have already lifted this middle lobe, and the middle lobe is congruent with the right lobe. So here what I want to emphasize is that there is no need to separately enucleate the middle lobe. In certain cases where the middle lobe is very big, then only we go to the 3-lobe technique where we separately enucleate the middle lobe. But today, practically for last 6-7 years, we have stopped doing median lobe separately. So we are nowadays doing 2-lobe technique, and I presented my work at Cape Town where we proved that the 2-lobe technique is definitely time saving. So when we do 2-lobe technique, we simply make a groove either at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and then the middle lobe is enucleated along with one of the lobes. So therefore it saves around 10 to 15 minutes which are required to separately enucleate the middle lobe. Now you can appreciate that in this patient there was no left lobe except for the apical tissue, which we are going to enucleate at the end. But the important thing is, now this is what I want to show you. There is a small perforation posteriorly. Now this is the perforation which tells you that you can go deep. Sometimes such perforations are possible, especially in redo cases where previous resection has been done. Now this is during learning curve, one if works in this perforation, you can create problems. Patient can have extravasation of fluid and patient can have distension of abdomen, but this can safely be prevented. As soon as you sight a perforation, you go away from it and you work near the prostate. Here again you can appreciate this is the capsule, and now we are not looking at that site where we have just gone slightly deep in the capsule, and we are working at other sites, so that because in enucleation procedure it is very important that you enucleate the prostate all around. So we are leaving that 6 o'clock position and we have come right up to say 8, 9 and 10 o'clock. So this is how we make clockwise and anti-clockwise movements with the laser fiber and we enucleate it. The principle of enucleation is very simple, that you have to peel the prostate away from the capsule, and this is how the laser fiber is working all around the prostate. Now you can appreciate that this is around 7 o'clock and at this point we are working our way trying to stay onto the capsule, and the adenoma gets lifted up all around. This area looks slightly sticky in the sense that here the prostate is stuck to the capsule and it is coming out with slight difficulty. Therefore, you will appreciate that I will change the power settings and we will be able to cut it sharper. The power settings, as I said, that there are more than 200 possibilities of different laser settings. The different permutation and combinations are possible in this 100-watt laser equipment. The beauty of this laser equipment is that you can choose the energy and the joules according to your choice. What happens is that sometimes you need more coagulation. If you need more coagulation, that means you can increase the energy. If you need sharper cutting, you can increase the pulse rate or a repetition rate. Sometimes earlier we were having lot of difficulties in stabilizing the fiber, and you can now appreciate that the fiber is absolutely not vibrating. This is the beauty of the bridge I showed you, that whenever we work with this kind of a bridge, there is hardly any vibration and we can safely work all around the gland. And as I have changed the power settings at this point, you can appreciate that the lobe is getting enucleated very smoothly and very nicely. Now you can appreciate that this laser is having a high repetition rate, therefore it acts as a precise knife. The other thing which I want to emphasize at this stage is that while the laser is cutting, you can see there is no bleeding at all. Now no bleeding means it is good for high risk patients. Now you see the laser fiber here is working at 12 from 12 to 11 and 11 to 10. Here we are working at 12 o'clock and from there we are enucleating. See, the capsular fibers can be safely seen at 12 o'clock, and as I told you that the principle of enucleation is that from defined area to undefined area. So here we are moving from a defined area, this is a defined area, and from here we will go to an undefined area. Therefore there is no chance. This is another important step in enucleation. We have lifted the prostate from below, we have made the prostate fall from above, and this is the mucosal attachment at 9 o'clock. So this mucosal attachment must be removed at this stage, because if we do not remove this mucosal attachment, it pulls the adenoma and sometimes can cause injury to the sphincter. So to prevent any injury